Hello and welcome to now our 6th global call for all digital delegates to the 2025 High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. And it has been something of a long journey since we began gathering together in January. And now here we are, several months later at our last call before the big forum, before the HLPF itself. And so, as you can imagine, today is about sharing some of those final details and final preparations before you all have the opportunity, either in person if you are coming to New York, or virtually if you are planning to follow online. You will all have the opportunity to follow some of the events and proceedings of the forum, which is beginning in just a week from now. So our key topics for our meeting today are first to address how to prepare our own contributions for the JCoR SDG Lab, which will be following the forum itself at the very end of July. And also, how do we follow the proceedings of the HLPF virtually or in person over the coming 2 weeks before that? So as usual, we will first gather ourselves in a brief prayer. Let us pray. God of gladness, God of generosity, you see the difficult work of caring for those who are excluded and suffering. You know the frustration of listening to those who are meant to be our leaders, telling incomplete stories about our communities, and ignoring or failing to see the challenges that remain. And yet, you are the one who calls us to be caregivers to each other. You inspire us to serve. You fire our hearts with compassion for those who suffer. You choose us to be bearers of your healing love. Strengthen our resolve to seek and speak the truth. Sharpen our minds so that we may speak it clearly and compassionately. Give us glad and generous hearts that we may join with our sisters, our brothers, our colleagues in loving community who support us as we support others in need. Amen. Okay, so once again, we are jumping today into our final preparations and a few last-minute pieces of guidance as we prepare to embark on the actual forum for which we have been preparing all of these months. So first, we'll talk about some of the details and make final preparations for the event that is kind of the capstone or the presentation to which you are all building as our digital delegates to the HLPF. And so for that, we will review the schedule, the program for those lab sessions. We will take a few minutes for anyone who has not already submitted a response to the form through which you can select your preference of which session of the lab you would like to be a speaker. We will also go over a few tips, pieces of advice for speakers. And we will review once again where you can find your government's written report from their voluntary national review. Then in terms of preparing for the main event, the forum itself, the UN proceedings, we will also have a bit of guidance on the HLPF program schedule, the official program, and where to watch all of the events online, as well as where you can find a list of recommended events that we think you may be particularly interested in attending. And also a sheet of guidance on who you might like to tag or who you might like to follow if you are a person who uses social media and you intend to interact or engage in some way on social media in relation to your participation in this forum. So first, we'll start with, even though it's reverse in time, the main forum is coming up sooner than the labs, but because the labs are our own event as JCoR and as this community of delegates, we are putting that one first in our agenda so that we can make sure that everyone feels comfortable and has all of the details and that we have enough time for everyone to complete that form so that we can make our final schedule of who will speak on which day. So the first thing is a quick reminder. You have seen this several times by now, but just to remind everyone that the schedule for the JCoR SDG Labs will be that we will have one session each day for a whole week, and this will be the week from July 28th to the 1st of August. And all of the sessions will be at the same time as our call today, the same time as all of the meetings that we have had this year. So that part should be easy enough to remember. Whatever it was in your time zone today, it's the same time for all the sessions of the SDG Lab. And on the first day, our topic, our area of focus, will be SDG number 3, which is quality healthcare and well-being for all. On the second day, July 29th, our focus will be SDG number 5, which is gender equality. On the third day, July 30th, our focus will be on SDG number 8, which is decent work and sustainable economies. And on the fourth day, July 31st, our focus will be SDG number 14, healthy aquatic ecosystems. And finally, the last session will be the 1st of August, and our focus will be SDG number 17, which is partnerships that support all of the Sustainable Development Goals. And I know several of you have already completed a form that I shared with you at our last call and then circulated via email after that call. But I know we have not received responses from everyone yet. And so I want to take a few minutes now to make sure that everyone has access to the form and is able to complete it without any difficulty. So I'm going to put the links to the form in our chat box in just a moment. And I will also share what it looks like on the screen. Okay. So the form links are now in the chat box. You can see there are separate links. So depending on which language you prefer, you can just select the form that is in your preferred language. They are all the same. They are merely, one is a translation of another. And so we'll just take a few minutes now to ensure that everyone has a chance to complete that. And the main idea here is that we just need to know which of these 5 sessions you would most like to speak at based on what information you want to share, what is your area of expertise or your ministry. And once we know which session every person would prefer, then we will be able to have a complete list of who will speak on each day. And we will also be able to tell you how much time you personally will have to speak. And that is a very key detail. And we're not able to say, since the sessions, we have 2 hours available each day for people to speak. But if there are 10 people who want to speak on the same day, then each one will have to have a shorter time. But if there are only 4 or 5 people who want to speak, then we are able to allow each one to have more time. So that is the importance of getting your responses to this form. And I will also pause now if there are any questions or if anyone having any difficulty access to the form or understanding part of the form, please let me know and we will see if we can resolve it. Yes, I see the hand of Margaret Murilli.
Yes, thank you, Teresa, for the information. And I just wanted to check. I would like to participate in the labs, but one, I am not from a veneer country now, but I'm a representative of an organization. And so I will not lie by saying I know what happens to those countries, even though we are in 6 of the 37 or 39 that are reporting, but I am not from there. So do I need to feel anything? If I had to speak, I had to speak from the experience of my own country, which is not a veneer country. And it is better that I give chance to the veneer countries instead of me bringing in a country that is not doing anything this year. Thank you.
Wonderful question. Thank you, Margaret. And good to hear your voice. It's been a while. So I will say, if you are interested to speak and you are willing to speak, Even if you are joining us from a country that is not reporting this year, I will ask you to complete the form and to share your preference and your desire with the form. And what I will do is if the day on which you have asked to speak is very full and very crowded, then maybe I will respond to you and say, unfortunately, we do not have space this time. But if the day that you want to speak or the session in which you want to speak, if there is space available, then I will say, good news, there's space for you, and we will be very happy to hear your perspectives on whatever the SDG is that you've chosen, 3 or 8, whatever it might be.
Thank you.
And I also see the hand of Isabel. Please go ahead, Isabel.
Thank you very much, Teresa, and hi, everyone. My question is, we have a country that wasn't able to send somebody to be a delegate because they have a few number of sisters, but they are very involved in SDGs. And I asked them to prepare at least something. One of our members who are here present, who followed the training, could do the presentation. I don't know if this is possible, if we can give a country that is not represented here. But one Sister Lucy is there in Japan, but she can't because her English is not very good. She's not able to present. But we want to give the presentation to somebody else for Japan. I don't know if this is possible.
So I will say the same answer, which I gave to Margaret's question before yours. I will say we will give a priority space to those who are coming from the countries, the governments, the country whose governments are reporting this year. But if you or other members of your congregation are informed about their process and are interested to speak, please have them complete the form. And I will respond to you once I have seen the whole list of responses from everyone in this program. And if there is space, we will be very happy to also include, say, your sister who is coming or bringing experience from one of the countries that is not reporting this year. But we will continue to give priority to those who are coming from the reporting countries.
Excuse me, Teresa. Japan is doing the voluntary review this year, but the problem is they don't have a delegate to send. It's different from Margaret.
Oh, you just mean that someone who will not be here in person?
Yes, Japan, they will follow from online, but the country is doing a voluntary review, and the sisters would like to do the presentation, to send the presentation. Somebody else can do since they can't come here.
So since the SDG labs are all online, and I think actually I know most of the participants in this training program will not be coming to New York. They will be following online, and for that reason, that's part of why we have the SDG labs all virtual. So that will be no problem at all. Your sister who wants to report from Japan can definitely join. She does not need to be here in New York. Anyone with an internet connection can join and speak at the SDG labs.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And thank you for helping me to understand. Yes, Ida, please.
Yes, I filled in the form, but I would like to know what is the language I need to use for my presentation.
Excellent, excellent. So we will have interpretation available for English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. So as speakers, you are free to choose any of those languages, whichever you prefer, you are welcome to use. And in the same, we will also, you will also be able to listen and receive the presentations of others in whichever language you prefer from that list. Yes, Melba.
When I see the form yesterday, the last question is if you are interested in writing something about the country you're speaking from or about. But I would like to discuss this in this meeting because there are some countries where there is a lot of violence and a high repression level, and I wouldn't like to put people at risk, if you know what I mean. So nobody is willing to write anything. They're going to participate in the labs and they are going to do their presentation, but they don't want to leave anything on writing because it might be very risky for them. You know, the report that we are going to present to the governments in Central America, there are a lot of countries where there is a lot of violence, high level of repression. And I don't know how we could reflect something on writing, but it is going to be very risky for people there. I believe we need to be very prudent. Well, I believe that you know of other countries as well that have the same problem. It's not just Central America.
Good point, Melba. So I will say, in response to that last question, that of course that is completely optional. That is offering or inviting you to an opportunity to share some of your reflections in a written report. And of course, that is left to your judgment. If you believe that it would not be safe or secure to put your reflections in writing, then of course you are free to opt out, to say no to that invitation. And at the same time, I will add that we can also collect reflections, we can collect critiques and collect observations from any country. And if there is a concern that perhaps some of the content of what you have shared, you do not want your name to be attached to it or your congregation, because of a concern related to security, then we can collect the information, but we will just be sure in the way that we present it or the way that we publish it anywhere, that we are not naming the exact source of the information. So there are a couple different strategies. One is to say, no, I think I will, join the SDG Lab, but I will not participate in the writing. That's fine. That's one option. A second is I have something that I very much want to share, and I would like to participate in the work on this written report. But I do need to say, please do not attach my name or do not attach the name of my congregation for the sake of our security, our safety, or to avoid repression or some other kind of negative consequence. So if you are thinking about that last question and you're not sure, you can also say yes for now, and if you decide later that you're not comfortable or you're not able to share, that is okay. You can also change your mind later. Okay. Are there any other questions about the form? I see that we have 10 more responses since we started this call, so that is a good sign. Okay, and it seems like maybe there was a need to clarify further an answer that I gave earlier. So the question about if someone is not able to make a presentation in one of those 4 languages that I mentioned, English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, but they have experience that they want to share. Of course, if there's another person available from your congregation or a friend who is willing to give the presentation on behalf of the member of your congregation or your community, that is also an option. That is also a possibility. So if those 4 languages are not accessible to you or to one of your delegates who you would like to speak, there is the option to have someone kind of deliver their remarks or their reflections on their behalf in one of those 4 languages. Yes, Sister Julie, please go ahead.
I want to know how many minutes will be assigned to each congregation so that it will help in the planning of what to say.
So it is voluntary. If you or sisters in your congregation are interested in speaking in all 5 of the sessions, you could select all 5. But we are asking each person to select at least 1 session. But then if you are feeling enthusiastic about speaking in multiple different topics, you're also welcome to do that. And someone did ask in a prior meeting, I have a presentation. I want to speak about one ministry, one project, but I am not sure which session is the most appropriate because it relates both to SDG 3 and to SDG 5. And so which session should I pick? And so my answer to that is we wouldn't need you to present twice the same content. If you had two completely different presentations to give, one on each topic, then we would try to give you space in both of those sessions. But if you really just have one piece of information you want to share, but you are not sure which topic is the best, I would say then just you can put both on when you respond to the form, but then maybe write to me separately to say, you know, I really just have one presentation to make, but please fit me into whichever session has more space, so that way we can kind of try to spread out our speakers as evenly as possible across the 5 sessions. So that, I hope, does that answer your question, Sister Julie?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions about the form or how to sign up for the day you would like to speak during the SDG Labs? Okay, great. I'm putting the links into the chat box just one more time, the same links, just in case anyone was not yet in the room when I put them in the first time. So if you have joined us in the last few minutes, the links in the chat box are to sign up for the day that you would like to speak and the session in which you would like to speak for our SDG Labs at the end of this month. So we are asking everyone to complete that form and submit it really by the end of the day today, so that we can finalize our schedule and everyone has lots of time to prepare. Now I will get back in a little bit to what that preparation should look like. Okay. So just as a reminder, the content that you can include in your presentation, there are a few different ways that you can approach it, and this is your free choice, whichever way you feel you would like to present your reflections. You are free to choose any of these options. So first, the first option is to simply give your personal observations, your experience in relation to the SDG that we are discussing in that session. So you can share how you have seen that goal being implemented around you, or in some cases, maybe some gaps where you have not seen that SDG being implemented. Perhaps a particular group of people that is not being uplifted or served by that goal. A second option for what you can include in your presentation is to really focus specifically on the written VNR report that has been submitted and published by your national government. And so you can focus, again, just focusing on the SDG that we are discussing in that session. You can look at what your government has said and offer your own comments on it to say, you know, I've seen these observations that they share. I have seen them in reality, or these observations conflict with my experience. This is not what I am seeing in reality. And a third type of critique is simply to identify where there are gaps in the report to say, you know, this community has not been included or described, or when you speak about gender equality, we are neglecting, say, older women over the age of 65, or we are forgetting widows, or we are forgetting women and girls with disabilities, whatever it may be. So identifying some of those gaps in the report. And then a third option for what you could include in your talk, in your presentation, would be to highlight a particular ministry of your congregation that in some way contributes to the SDG that we are discussing in that session. So in a way to offer a good practice that others could potentially learn from, maybe replicate, maybe build upon and expand. Ideally, that government could build upon and expand and invest in. So those are the three major approaches. One, just your observations of how you see this goal is being implemented or is not being implemented. The second option, reviewing the specific text and information from your government's voluntary national review report. And the third option, sharing a good practice or a ministry project that contributes to the SDG that we are discussing in that session. And then, of course, the final option is you might choose, I'll take a little of this one, a little of that one, a little of that one. You can somehow combine these three approaches if you wish. You can select one or you can combine them, whatever you like. You are free to approach your speaking time however you like. And then when it comes to actually attending the sessions of the lab, again, there's a quick reminder of the schedule there. There will be separate registration links for each day. So these are available in a couple different places already, but of course, I will also share these slides with you as I usually do after our call today. So you will also have these links from this slide. So you will have them ready to register at the end of the month. And again, each session, we will have interpretation between English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. So you can both speak and listen in any of those languages. We will also plan to record each of these events, and we will publish them on the YouTube channel for JCoR. But again, as with our meetings in preparation for the HLPF, if you would like to offer a presentation and you have any concern about your safety or security, or having your name or your image connected to your presentation, we can account for that in a way that will make you feel comfortable. So for example, we can either stop the recording when you are speaking so that it will not be published anywhere after the session itself. We can also, if you like, you can make your presentation and we can record it, but we can change it so that your name does not appear at the bottom of the screen. We can turn off your camera so that we're not seeing your image. we can make it so that you offer your presentation and that the content of your presentation is still available and published, but it will not be connected to your name or to your image. And that is an important concern or an important consideration, because these sessions are all open to the public. And granted, every year we have done them. I have not seen kind of random, unexpected people in attendance. It does tend to be members of the congregations who are part of JCoR and their partners. We tend to be connected to all of the people who appear in the room already. But again, if there's any concern at all about the public forum, the public nature, the fact that anyone can attend the events, if you have any security concern at all, please let me know and we can make a plan in order to ensure that you still have an opportunity to share your expertise. We have an opportunity to learn from it, but that we do not put anyone into any kind of insecure or unsafe situation. And I see Beth has her hand raised. Yes, Beth?
Yes, thank you, Teresa. Just very, very quickly, realizing that these security concerns are real and may have ramifications beyond just our August event. We have a great intern with us until the end of the month. Her name is Hannah, and if anyone has anything they would like to have presented, she happens to be fluent in Spanish. And so I would be happy to talk to her if anyone needs to have their presentation made by someone else, just as an option. Because I understand that, you know, people's names and likenesses and face and even voice up on the internet can be findable by anyone if they wish to. So, you know, just wanted to note that we have it covered, and thank you all for bringing it up. And thank you, Teresa, for the wonderful work that you're doing to make this possible for everyone to have their voices heard.
Excellent. Thank you for that option as well, Beth. That's great. Okay.
Teresa,
Oh, yes, go ahead, Melba.
yes, just a reminder. Then when people are going to be ready for the presentation, they need to send it to you, I think, a week before, because you are going to do the translation. That is a detail. I forgot that.
Yes, that's right. So you've anticipated my next slide, so that's perfect timing. So here are the other specific details for those who are speaking during any session. There are kind of there's kind of a schedule that begins before the day that you will present. And this is both for the sake of having an assurance that we know that those who are registered to speak each day, we know that they have confirmed they are ready to speak, they are prepared to speak. And also, it's a way of offering an opportunity for our interpreters to see the content of your presentation in advance, so that they are more accurately able to reflect all of your brilliant insights and the details of the good practices that you want to share. So it's very, very helpful to ensure that we have good interpretation. And then a third purpose is also, you know, if there is anything, any surprise, any emergency that arises on the day that you are registered to speak, and for any reason you are not able to connect to the call that day, then if we at least have, say, the slides, if you intend to use slides, that is not mandatory. But if you have slides, if you have written notes for your presentation, if we have those in advance, then we're still able to have someone, kind of, as Beth was just saying, someone can be your proxy. Someone can at least share your insights in your absence so that we do not miss the opportunity to learn from you because your internet wasn't working that day or some other problem arose at the last moment. So multiple reasons to have this preparation a few days in advance. I'm just getting a message in my building here that they may be testing the fire alarm on us. But if you hear any funny noises in the background, we'll try to time our speaking so that we're not shouting over it. But if you hear any noise in the background, that is the reason. So I mentioned slides. I want to emphasize that in the past, many of our speakers have chosen to present with some kind of visual, with some kind of slides or still photos even. And if you wish to do that, you are very welcome to do that. It does tend to be, I think, a helpful feature for the audience. I think people appreciate having a visual as well as hearing you and seeing you if possible. But if it's not possible, if you don't have access to, say, PowerPoint or you don't have the time to put together slides, that's okay. They are not required, but they are very welcome if you would like to use them. What we will need, especially if you are not using any kind of slides with text from your presentation, then what we will need 3 days in advance is some kind of written text that offers at least kind of the key points or the key ideas that you intend to share in your presentation. So it does not need to be an exact script, word for word, exactly what you will say, but it does need to be something of an outline or notes that contains the key messages, the key ideas, so that we will have a sense of kind of how you will structure or organize your presentation. And again, to ensure that we have strong interpretation, or I should say the strongest possible interpretation. And also, if you are not able to be there, that someone could relay these wonderful ideas in your absence. And I will add also that if you are very unsure if you will have a strong internet connection, and there's a decent chance that you will not have internet on the day that you are registered to speak, there is also an option to send a video recording of your presentation ahead of the session so that I can have it ready and available. And if you do not appear in the Zoom room on the day of your session, then I will have that recording ready and I can share it at the appropriate time in place of having you speak. And the same goes for, if say that you're not going to be available on the day that you would like to speak, on the topic you would like to speak. then that's another reason you might wish to create a recording in advance and then submit that again 3 days ahead, so that we will have it ready and we can still hear from you even though you could not be with us. Were there any questions about any of that? The slides, or sending written notes, or sending a video recording? Any questions about any of that? Okay. Then that's all. So that's all for preparation before the actual session. On the day of the session in which you will speak, we ask you to plan to join the call 15 minutes ahead of the start time, just so everyone who is speaking, we can see you all together in the room. We know who is there, and we know that we are ready to start when the start time arrives. And just as a technical tip, one, we will say you're always encouraged, if it's possible and if you feel safe, it's always encouraged to have your camera on when you are speaking. It certainly helps those who are listening to connect with you in a more powerful way. But that being said, we understand that you may not have a strong enough internet connection, or it may be difficult with your device to have your camera on and to be making your presentation. So if you're not able to have the camera on, we understand. But if it is an option for you, that is always preferable. And when you do have your camera on, the best kind of quality image is always if you're able to sit in a position where there is maybe a window or a light that is in front of you and shining onto your face, because I'm sure we have all had the experience where we are speaking with someone on a video call and the light is coming from behind them. And so we can see there is a person there, but it's just kind of the outline of a person. We're not really able to see their face. So we can see the light behind and darkness in front. So if you are able to position yourself so that there is light in front of you, that always creates the best image for everyone else to be able to see you. And another thing is just if you're able to make sure that your camera is positioned in a way that we can see your whole face, that is always preferable as well. Another helpful point is if you do have access to a computer as opposed to a phone, usually the connection and the image that we get is better if you are using a computer to connect to the Zoom room. But of course, if the phone is the device that you have and that is what is available, that is perfect. That is great. So it's only if you have the choice between the two and you're not sure what you will do, usually the computer connection will present a little bit higher quality of an image and an experience. And as usual, you are all very well practiced at this now, but a reminder that once you are in the room, you will want to join the audio channel for your preferred language. And also, as we do in these meetings, you will want to keep your own microphone muted when you are not the person who is speaking. And that will help us to eliminate background noise and allow for the clearest possible audio for everyone on the call. And finally, a very key piece of information, again, for the sake of our interpreters, is always to remember that when you are speaking, you will have 3 interpreters who are interpreting your words into another language. And so you may want to think about pausing a little bit more between ideas and speaking as slow, well, not as slowly as you can, but speaking more slowly than you maybe naturally would in the context of a conversation, and also to speak as clearly as possible so that the interpreters can capture you accurately and can share your ideas as clearly as possible with everyone else in the room. Are there any questions about any of those technical details about joining the Zoom room or working with your camera, your microphone, etc.? Okay, good. Another good point shared in the chat box from our expert interpreter, Anna. She says to remind you that, of course, you will need a device that has a microphone for us to be able to hear you. So we know some devices are really only for listening. So be sure you have a device with a microphone. And perhaps if you even have headphones, like the one that I'm wearing now, which has a little microphone device on it right here, that sometimes that even provides better audio quality than just the general microphone you may have on your phone or your computer, because it will help to eliminate noise that is further away around you. But that's something that's good to test in advance if you're not sure if your device is picking up your voice very clearly or very well. Always good to test that in advance. And if you do have some kind of headset or headphones that have a microphone, you might consider using those on the day that you are speaking. Okay, do not see any other questions about that topic. So we will move ahead to a reminder. If you have not already had the opportunity to go and obtain and study the written report that your government has submitted to the UN, which is their Voluntary National Review report, I wanted to just remind us all where exactly you can find that report. So again, there is this VNR database that I have been sharing the link to. And when you arrive at the page, it looks like this, the image that you see on the right here. You can see all of the flags there for the countries that are reporting this year. And so you simply need to just scroll down to find the flag and the name of your country and click on the name of it. And that will bring you to a page that looks like this. So we have here India as our example. And at the top of the page, just under the name of the country, you will see Voluntary National Reviews 2025. So further down, you can see they submitted in other years earlier. And if you wanted, you can also go back and look at those earlier reports. But for our purposes in this session, we are asking you to look at the one from the current year. So that will be at the very top of the list, Voluntary National Reviews 2025. And you will click right on the words there that are in that red circle. And that will bring you to a page that looks something like this. And there will be two places, two options that will get you to the same destination. There will be a box on the right-hand side over here that says Documents at the top. There will be the very same box will also appear at the bottom of the screen down here. Again, same label, Documents. And in that list of documents, it will probably be the last document in the list will be something with a title like VNR 2025 report. Or maybe it will say final 2025 report. Because each government kind of chooses their own name for the file when they submit it. So they do not all have the same title, but you will be able to understand and intuit from the name of the file. Oh, this is the full report. This is the final report. And when you open it, you'll also recognize it will probably be something that's quite polished, very well put together. It will probably be a somewhat long report, ranging anywhere from maybe 10 pages to 200 pages. And if you are finding that you have gone to a document that's no more than 1 page and it's just a very brief text, you probably have selected the wrong document from the list. So you should go back one step and try to find the full report from this list. And again, because they are often so long, we are not asking you to read a 200-page report. If you have the time and the energy and the passion for that, we love it and we support it. But we know you have very many responsibilities. And so we do not expect you to be able to read a 200-page report. But we do ask you to find at least one section of the report that pertains to a subject of strong interest and passion for you, and to really focus and review that section. And each government chooses how they will organize their own report, but many of them do organize or structure the report according to different SDGs. So if they do that, that's one easy way for you to quickly find the section that you really want to study and that you want to focus on. But they don't always do that. So just look, usually there is a table of contents at the beginning. So that's another way for you to help find the piece or the section of the report that will be of greatest interest to you and that you might like to respond to when you are speaking during the SDG Labs. Okay, and there was a question in the chat box. How should we send the presentations to you in advance of the lab? Wonderful question. Thank you, Caridad. So you can send them to me by email Email is probably the best because it's good for, especially if there is a large file, if you have a lot of images in it, or if you're sending a video. Email is the best way. But if email does not work for any reason, you have trouble, or you don't have your own email address even, then you can also send it by WhatsApp. So whichever way is better, but email is preferred if that is possible. And again, just another reminder, as you review the report from your government, a couple guiding questions to help you if you do find them helpful. You might like to ask yourself, where does my own personal experience align with what I'm reading in this report? Where does my personal experience conflict with what I'm reading here in this report? And finally, what is missing from this report? What are the additional insights or additional recommendations or additional observations that I want to contribute to our overall narrative about the status of SDGs in my country? Does anyone have any questions about how to find or review or reflect on your government's written report from their voluntary national review?
Teresa,
Yes, please.
yes, we are in Japan as well, and I am going to try to be in contact with a sister there that maybe she's interested in a review to read the report and maybe to have a feedback about. I am interested about Japan because for me it's important the countries who are in how we say the good shape, that we could learn what are they, how are they living the SDGs. We are going to see if I am trying to be in contact with her, and maybe she's going to, because the report is already online. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. That will be great. And yes, I believe they should, every government's report shouldn't be published now. They were meant to be submitted a couple of weeks ago. So if you are going to the page for your government and it doesn't seem to be there, please be in communication with me. And we will confirm if maybe there's something has gone wrong, or maybe we're just not finding the right place. But they should all be published now. So you should be able to find your government's report from this year by following all of the steps that I just showed you. Okay, so we will move ahead. Now that we've talked about what we all will do to respond to the HLPF at the end of the month, let's take one step backward in time and talk about the HLPF itself, which is happening just starting 1 week from today. So there's a wonderful resource that I want to direct all of you toward, and I will share some of the pages of it while we are together today, but there is more to this resource. And so we have a link here, and I will also put it in the chat box. But there is a great guide that our associate coordinator, Katie, with whom I work here in our office, has put together a wonderful written guide with all kinds of important links and dates and times to help all of you get to the exact right pages and places that you want to be during the forum, so that you can follow events that are part of both the official main program of the forum, as well as what we call side events or parallel events, which happen kind of outside of the main meeting room, either somewhere else inside the UN building or somewhere in the physical neighborhood near the UN building, or many of them now occur fully virtually. And many of them are sponsored by members of civil society, as in non-governmental people, non-governmental organizations like ourselves. But some are also sponsored by governments, and some are sponsored by a group, a partnership between both government and non-government. So there are many different events to which you might choose to give your attention during these almost 2 weeks of the forum. And so there's a lot to choose from and attend to. And so Katie has put together this guide to help you find the parts of the forum that will be most interesting and most helpful to you. And so just here are a couple highlights from the guide to show you. First of all, of course, importantly, the dates of the overall forum are the 14th to the 23rd of July. And the in-person component of the forum is happening at UN headquarters in New York, but there's a significant amount of all the proceedings can be followed virtually. And so for that, we would direct you to UN's web TV, which is actually available year-round for a lot of the meetings that happen at the UN, if you are ever interested and curious. And I will just open that now, just to give you a little look so that you will know you are in the right place. So this is what UN Web TV looks like. And during the forum, of course, that will be the main event that's happening at the UN. So it will probably appear right here on the home screen. You will probably see the main program for that day. But you can also scroll down a little bit on the page and see these are all the events that are happening right now. There's a little arrow here, so you can continue to scroll sideways and see what else is happening. The other thing you can click on is there's a link right here that says live schedule. And so that will help you to look ahead to a future date later in the week, perhaps. And you can see, for example, it always starts on the current day. So today, July 7th, you can see all of the meetings that have been live streamed from all the UN offices today, and they are in time order. So you can see it started with this, clearly was happening probably in Geneva, which is why it says 3:30 in the morning in New York. But if you scroll down, you will see in list in chronological order all of the events that are happening today. And if you wish to look, say, at tomorrow or the day after that, let's just go down and see what's happening on July 10th. Again, you can scroll and see all of the events, and each one of these is a link. So if you find the event that you want to watch, you just click on the name of the event, and it will take you to the page where that is being live streamed. And once you are there, you just click on the image here, the play button, and then you can watch the video. And I will add one other detail. I can find something today that has interpretation. Hopefully this will. So this is a meeting that's happening at the Human Rights Council right now. And if I click play, if you click on this settings button here, looks like a little cog, you will see that there are different language options there. So you can choose whichever of the 6 UN languages you would like to listen to the meeting. Okay, so that's the bit about UN Web TV. Come back to our guide. Okay, so we've highlighted here kind of what the main sections of the main program are, but there are also links that offer the list of those side events that I mentioned that are apart from the main program. And then there's something called special events as well. So you have several menus of options to choose from, and each of these will take you to those lists of options. We also have a page dedicated to the schedule for all of the voluntary national review presentations. And this is probably one of the most interesting parts, especially because for all of you who are coming from countries that have their governments reporting this year, you will want to make sure that you find the day and time where your government will be making a presentation. And this is a good kind of shortened way to get a sense of the overall position, the overall narrative of your government in reviewing your country's progress toward the achievement of the SDGs. So you can see down the right-hand side there that we have the whole schedule listed. So you can look for your government and make sure you make a note of when they will give their presentation to the global community. Oh, and I should add that immediately after each of the government reports on this date and time, there is also a brief opportunity for civil society to give their response, their remarks. And so that's also something that's very interesting for all of us, is to hear what civil society has to say after we hear from the government. So you will also want to tune in for that part of the session in which your government has spoken. And of course, we have a page in the guide dedicated to our SDG labs. So if you are looking for a nice brief way to see all of those important details, all of the registration links, an easy way to share or to invite other members of your network or your congregation to join these events, you can easily share this guide with them or just this page, so that they will know when they can tune in and how to register. And we also have a page on the JCoR website with all of the events that we recommend that are being hosted outside of the main program. And so there is a link here that will take you to that page, and it offers the details of what the topic of the event is, when and where it's happening, and who is sponsoring it. And again, many of those are virtual. And another helpful feature of this guide is that we offer a succinct list of what social media accounts will be helpful for you to follow if you are on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or Blue Sky. And also which accounts you might like to tag if you are creating your own report, your own post rather, and you might like to tag one of these entities in it. Okay, so I'm going to pause and put the link to those guides into our chat box. And I will add that the guide is available in the same way that we share our slides in multiple languages. This guide has also been produced in multiple languages. So at the page that I am putting into our chat box now, you can find the guide in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. And you can also feel very free to share that with anyone and everyone. The entire guide is meant to be publicly available. There's no reason to keep it a secret or to keep it hidden. And it's also organized in a way that even if someone is not a member of a congregation, it should still be helpful information all in one place. Are there any questions about that guide or where to find it or how to use it?
Please excuse me. Will it be sent to our emails?
Yes, yes. It will
All right.
be in with all of the slides from today. There'll be a big link to it. And you can also find it on our website. Even if you can't find it in the email, you can always go to the JCoR website and find it under our resources.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we will move on to just a last recap. And one other important detail, you all will remember that we still intend to have another round of regional calls so that you can have a chance to discuss, in particular, your responses, your reactions to your government's written reports now that they have been published. And in order to give more time for conversation and exchange of reactions, especially among those who know your country or your region very well, we're having these calls just as an opportunity for that conversation. And so based on your feedback, this is when we will have each of those calls. So for those from the Asia and Pacific region, it will be on the 10th of July, so later this week. And that will be at 8:30 New York time, so just a half hour earlier than today, which is 6 p.m. for those in India. Then the call for those from Europe will be the following day, the 11th of July, at 10:30 in the morning, New York time. So just about the time that it is right now, actually. And then those from the African region will have that call on the 14th of July at 10 in the morning, New York time. So 1 hour later than we started today, which is at 1500 hours West Africa or 1600 hours Central Africa. And finally, Latin America and the Caribbean. That call will also be on the 14th of July. And that will be at 10 a.m. Guatemala time, which is 12 p.m. in the Dominican Republic and in New York. And again, because the focus of our conversation will be your reactions to your government's report, be sure to read your government's report before that gathering happens so that you will have something to share and also be better equipped to respond to the sharing of the other participants on the call. And I will be sending Zoom link invitations to each of these calls. I will send them by email, and I will also send them in our group WhatsApp group. Okay, and I see a question in the chat box. Will we share the list of registered speakers who will make a presentation at the JCoR Labs before the program? Yes, we will do that. I will share that speaker list as soon as we've had, maybe not today and tomorrow, but middle of this week when I close the form for people to select which session they would like to speak in. Then I will finalize that list of who will speak on which day. And once we have that finalized list, I will share it with the group so that you can anticipate when we will hear from which people, and hopefully you can invite others to join and to learn from them as well. Okay, and oh, yes.
Sorry, Teresa. The times that you wrote for the regional forum in Latin America on July 14th, that same day, at the same time, is the presentation of the government. So we cannot meet at the same time. Do you understand my problem?
Yes, so the presentations from the governments won't begin until the 18th of July. It is the first, there is like a bigger meeting happening.
Sorry, I got confused. I thought that it was the 14th. Yes, Guatemala is not the 14th, it's the 18th. Thank you, I'm sorry. My
That's
mistake.
okay. That is okay. No problem. There are a lot of dates on the page. There's many things to keep our eyes on, so understandable. Okay. So other steps to take between now and the HLPF. One, to take a look at that guide that I was just sharing, which has all of those helpful details. The second is to register for our own SDG Lab sessions. The third, of course, is to prepare your contribution for the SDG Labs. And again, remember that we're asking you to send those 3 days before the actual session in which you will speak. So make sure as you plan and prepare that you're keeping that date 3 days in advance. Keep that in mind as your deadline. And of course, we also invite you to share that written guide to the HLPF with anyone that you think may be interested, and then to actually use it to attend as much of the HLPF as you can. And we know you have many responsibilities. This is not your full-time role, and the meetings may be happening at strange hours depending on your time zone. But again, attend anything that you think will be useful, helpful, and note that at least anything on UN Web TV, that website that I showed you, you can find those things later as well as recordings. So if you're not available when it is happening live, you can also revisit it afterward. And it just requires searching for the event. And it's a little bit more tricky, but if you have trouble, if you are trying to find something later and you cannot find it, we can always try to help and locate it for you. And finally, a reminder that even though we have the forum starting next week, and we have our own big response sessions in the SDG labs at the end of the month, after all of that, we will still come together as this group one more time for our last global call, and that will be something of a debriefing from our experience of the forum and of the SDG labs and of this program as a whole. And so that will be a great moment for us to really reflect on all that we have learned and seen, and to think about how we would like to carry it forward and continue to engage in this global process. So please make sure that you are also saving the date for that last call, which will be on the 11th of August at the same time as today and all of our other calls. And as always, if there are any questions or concerns or problems, you can reach me by email or by WhatsApp. And of course, everyone who has a WhatsApp number should also now be included in our WhatsApp group for this program. So that's another place where you can seek information and support from one another, as well as from me. Are there any final questions about our next steps or anything else that we discussed today? Yes, Melba, go ahead.
For presentation today, very, very with details, and I think we are good.
Good, thanks, Melba. Yes, Sister Rita. You've got it. That's the key detail. Yes. Thank you.
Sorry, just maybe I missed an information about the welcoming gathering, when it's going to be.
Yes, so that is on the 16th of July. So this is for those who will be in New York. We will have a few opportunities to gather in person. And the first will be at what we call a welcome gathering. And that will be at 1:15 in the afternoon on July 16th. And it will be on the 10th floor of the church center. So for
Okay.
those who work in New York, you'll be familiar with the church center. And those details will also will be on the recommended events page. So if you
Okay.
start at the guide and click on the recommended events page, then you will find all of those details.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Oscar.
Hello. I would like to know if we will be able to participate in several meetings to get informed about our country and what our country is doing.
Yes, Oscar. So the main thing to hear from your government, the one place that you know for sure that you will be able to hear from them is when they make their presentation of their voluntary national review. And that will definitely be available on UN Web TV. So I'm just going to put that page up on the screen again, in case anyone needs to capture the date and time. Oops. So here, look for the name of your country on the right side, and that will tell you the date and time that they will make their presentation before the whole UN community. And if you are not available to watch that happen live in the moment, then you will be able to get the recording afterward. And each of those presentations will be I think a maximum of 15 minutes. So they are quite short, actually. And then later in the session, there will be a response from a representative of civil society, which many of you have wonderfully contributed to by being part of those VNR teams. So that's a very exciting thing. So that's one time that we know we will hear from each government. Now, there may be other times that your government is sponsoring an event, or there may be other moments when they request to speak during a meeting. And if they simply request to speak during a meeting, that's hard to predict. We cannot anticipate when they might speak. But if they are sponsoring or hosting their own event, it would be listed here. So from this main page with the event details and information, you will see there is a link to side events. And if you follow that, make sure I have the right screen shared so you can see it. If you follow that link, it will bring you to this chart. And this shows you all of the events that are happening apart from the main conversation, the main proceedings. And they have a column, you can see there's the date and the time. The topic is here in this column. And then if you scroll to the right, you will see who is organizing. And so you can see many of these are sponsored by a government. So you will simply see the name of the country. That means it is the government that is sponsoring it. So here there is an event sponsored by the government of Belarus, Antigua and Barbuda, Timor-Leste, and you can see some of them are sponsored by agencies of the UN or by a non-governmental organization. But many of them are government. Kiribati, Uruguay, Qatar, Philippines, Liechtenstein, Ireland, etc. So that link, again, you can find in JCoR's guide as side events. And that will show you other opportunities where you may see your government speaking.
Thank you very much, Teresa.
Es un placer. Are there any other questions? Okay, good. So we're in good shape, as someone used that phrase earlier. So thank you all for your attention, and I hope you are not feeling too overwhelmed by the amount of information. But this will be a busy month, but I hope that you will find it to be an exciting moment, an exciting opportunity. I know I am especially looking forward to seeing some of you who will be coming to New York. It will be wonderful to be together with you in the same place. But also for those who are following online, who are following virtually, we will keep you in our minds and our hearts as we are here in New York. And we hope that you will also enjoy learning and following the proceedings of the forum. And we look forward to reconnecting with you both in your regional call that is happening in the next week, as well as our opportunity at the end of this month to hear from all of you in the context of the SDG Labs. So if there are any problems, any questions along the way, any concerns about preparing for the SDG Labs or how to present them, or trying to find a particular event during the forum itself, just let me know, and also help one another. Bring your questions to that WhatsApp group, as you did when there was some confusion about the time for our meeting today, which was my fault, and I apologize for that, but I thank you all for clarifying the matter for yourselves. So any other questions, you could always have the option of bringing questions to one another in that space. And of course, you are all excellent resources for one another. And we now look forward to what we have been preparing for all these months. So I will see you all in regional calls and perhaps in some other online meetings during the forum this month, and definitely for our SDG Labs at the end of the month. Thank you all again, and I will see you very soon, and then again and again.
Thank you very much. See you around, Teresa.
Sí, nos vemos.
In person.
Bye.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.